Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 9 at Belmont Park on Saturday is the Grade 3 Bold Ruler Handicap. Let's take a look at this field of sprinters going 7 furlongs on the main track. Mike, it's a real full field. You've got some intriguing horses entered. Let's begin with our morning line favorite, and that is Seymour Deeney, the number 9 for trainer Linda Rice. This horse has won his last 3 races to the tune of a combined 36 1/4 lengths. Last Beyer speed figure of 113. The problem is Linda has a whale of a time keeping this horse sound. We haven't seen him since July 3rd.
Yeah, it's a real problem. After that, I mean, just super impressive win back on July 3rd. You know, Linda was talking about, maybe the Forgo at Saratoga, looking for a big Grade 1 win, Grade 1 race for this horse. And once again, he just didn't make it to those kinds of races. So here he is off of, 117-day layoff in this kind of a race where he obviously fits very well and his races are good and he's a huge contender in here. But boy, it's pretty tough to take too short a price on this horse, isn't it?
I agree, especially if you think that Linda's trying to use this race as a stepping stone to the Cigar Mile.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's more comfortable with this horse going a slightly longer distance. He's capable sprinting, but these big wins have come around one-turn miles, which of course is what the Cigar Mile is. Seymour Deeney, though, you'll know his speed early. The Timeform US pace projector has Seymour Deeney up close. Not on the lead. They have him in 5th early. I think he'll take up a tracking position off the likely speed of Green Grotto.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he'll be closer to the pace than that. Green Grotto, all right, maybe he'll make the lead in this race. We'll see. He does, have a lot of speed. I also feel like Awesome Banner, the two who they also have up close. I think they did the right thing by him last time. He had the rail. They used his speed because he's got plenty of speed, and they finally used it again, and it almost worked out for them. I think you'll see those two horses up front.
Do you think, though, that the 7 really works against Awesome Banner? His best races have come at 6 furlongs. He did do a lot of work in that Phoenix. I just look at the Phoenix. I see this gigantic blanket finish. Yeah. There were 6 across the wire, and I'm saying, how good could it be?
I agree with that. I mean, I thought, all things considered, he ran fine in there. And again, I liked that they used his speed in there. But at the end of the day, and listen, Whitmore's a pretty nice horse. What was his excuse not to win last time?
As for Green Grotto, a really likable horse. He's earned over $1 million. He won the Carter, obviously, at 7 furlongs, but he just hasn't looked like the same horse in his last few races.
Right.
The speed hasn't been there, and sometimes that's a sign that maybe, the old-timers losing a lot off the fastball.
Well, that's true, although I would just argue that in the Vanderbilt and Vosburg, I mean, what chance did he have to make them? He can't make the front in those kinds of those horses. He's a fast horse. Those horses, true Grade 1 kinds of sprinters, they're too fast for him. His speed plays a lot better in this kind of a race. It's just a question of whether you think he's good enough.
Mr. Crow, the number 10, came into the Grade 1 Vosburg on September the 30th as a 5-2 shot off of 2 gigantic Beyer victories against much weaker competition. We thought he was a big fade that day. It was the rare instance we were right. He was next to last, beaten 13.5 lengths. Was it the wet track? Was it the fact that he didn't get close to the early lead? Or was he exposed against better horses?
Yeah, it was. I don't want to give him. Well, maybe it was a sort of a track excuse. I don't want to give him that one. I just feel like he stepped up to try a really tough spot, and it didn't work out for them. They've regrouped. They found a little bit of an easier spot for him. To me, he's the kind of horse that you like if you like speed figures. He has run a couple of really fast races, and those 2 races, 104, 109, suggest he's a huge player in this race. I don't believe it.
Stalwalking Dude won this race last year. He is coming into this race off of a 3rd in the Vosburg, but he just had, I thought, a great setup in the Vosburg, where Takafel and El Deal were battling it out early. Stalwalking Dude was sitting by himself, and there was an instance at the 3/16 pole where you felt if the Stalwalking Dude of 2017 was the Stalwalking Dude of last year, he wins that race, and he didn't get there. His 2 big Beyer figures this year came, I think, Perfect Trip Vosburg, couldn't get it done, and in the True North, where he was just with the track, on the best part of the track on the outside. He could easily win this race. I wonder if he's a slight underlay.
Yeah, I agree with all those things, Dan. I mean, I like him as a horse. He's a hard trier.
Absolutely.
There's going to be pace in this race, and if there is, he will come running at it. And I thought, all things considered, he ran fine in the Vosburg, but I also agree with you. It feels to me like his last 3 or 4 races, and even though he won that race at Saratoga 3 starts back, I don't think he's been quite as sharp in those races as he was in his previous starts, and I just wonder if he sort of turned the corner a little bit.
Tel Saval looks like a killer against optional claiming horses, and then when you step him up into the big leagues, he just doesn't get it done. In the Forgo last time out, he was chasing Breeders' Cup Sprint winner Dre Fong Erling, and he paid the price.
Yeah.
Maybe getting back to Belmont is okay, and Maybe he could work out an inside-out trip under Manny Franco. He has that one race at 7 furlongs where he just had a great trip and the favorite didn't show up.
Yeah, those things are all true. I mean, this is a horse. I think he's pretty talented, Dan.
Yeah.
He's 4 for 4 in his career in non-stakes races, and he's 0 for 11 when they try him in stakes races. He just finds these races a little bit tough. I gave him a long look in here. I'm a fan of his, and I feel like if he gets the right trip in this race, and then maybe Seymour Dini just isn't going to fire his best race, I think there are ways to look at him and think he could pull off a little bit of an upset here. I couldn't talk myself into it. I'm going to use him though.
Tommy Albertrani still firing with Ready for Ride. Doesn't matter whether it's turf or dirt. He's the same horse. Not sure it's good enough to win a graded stakes, but this is his track, Belmont, especially if it's wet.
Yeah.
You can move Ready for Ride up. It's just, you've been trying to make him for a while now, and he just hasn't moved forward this year.
No, he really has. I mean, you know what it is, Dan? He is what he is. He's a pretty good horse. He's solid. He'll get good trips. He'll run his race every time. These races are probably too tough for him. I'll be honest, I actually wish that they would have concentrated on turf with him more and just see if he could turn himself into a much better turf sprinter, because I think he finds these races on dirt too tough.
I like Tommy Macho at these shorter distances, especially as he's gotten older. He had no chance in the Forgo, no pace against Dre Fong. In the Kelso, not a lot of pace against Sharp Azteca. But the Tommy Macho of 2017, the horse that has to be ridden at the half-mile pole, I'm just not a fan of that Tommy Macho.
I agree with you. He's a horse who, and listen, he's still really game and he still tries really hard. But ever since he won that Hooper back in February of 2016 and then endured a long layoff after that race, to me, he has not come back the same horse. And I think he'll try really hard in here. Maybe he gets a piece. I can't take him on top.
Tom's ready. He's a true one-run sprinter. Third start of the form cycle, similar situation as Tommy Macho.
Yeah.
No pace in the Forgo. He ran quite well that day. The Kelso, just not good enough against Sharp Azteca.
Yeah.
Just not sure there's enough pace to set up. He needs a blazer up front.
That's the thing. He needs them to go at it in front of him to set up his late run, because otherwise he can't really contend. In his last 2 races, I would argue, he didn't get the setup that he needs. Maybe he'll get it on Saturday.
Beasley's always had a little bit of hype around him. Heck, he was 9-2 against eventual Belmont Stakes winner Taproot in the Tampa Bay Derby. That race didn't work out. I like that Mark Henning gave him plenty of time. I like that he's brought him back sprinting. This horse has got some guts to him. He wants to beat you, and he's the horse in the race with the most upside.
I agree with all that stuff. He's a pretty good horse. I don't know if he's good enough to beat these horses. If they all show up and run their best, it feels like he might have found a pretty tough spot. But he's pretty good. I think he's going to get better from here. I mean, just going through his races one after another, even the Tampa Bay Derby, where I thought he had an impossible trip. I mean, he's run nothing but good races.
All these good horses in this field haven't even come to the pick yet. We put it up there. It's Divining Rod. Divining Rod ran so well in the Cigar Mile last year against Connect that I had high hopes that this was going to be a big season for him. And because he's Divining Rod, he has his aches and pains, and it took him about 8 months to get back to the races. The first start was a perfect starting point. Then in the Forgo, again, it was just that race with no pace against Dre Fong. The Kelso, really no pace against Sharp Azteca, who's going to be the favorite or the second choice in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I love the try he showed in the stretch. He was easily second best. And for a horse that's had so many physical issues, here are 4 starts now without a layoff. He draws a good outside post position. If he can stay within range, I think this serves not only as a winning race for him, but a really good prep for the Cigar.
Dan, I agree with all that stuff. I mean, this horse, to me, he's been a good horse from the start. He found his calling last year in the one-turn Cigar Mile. That's what he wants to do. That's what he's best at. And it took him a while to get back to the races this year, but he's run well in all 3 of his starts. And I'm with you on his last race. There was no beating Sharp Azteca. Boy, was he dead game in the stretch trying to run him down, though.
We're both going to go with Divining Rod on top in the Bowl Ruler. I'll make it 11, 9, 7, and 8 in race number 9. Mike's going 11, 9, 1, and 6. If you are playing this nice Belmont Park Saturday card from home, please consider DRF bets. When you sign up at drf.com/fall and use the promo code FALL300, you'll be rewarded with a $300 sign-up bonus. Approximate post time for race number 9 at Belmont on Saturday, the Grade 3 Bowl Ruler, 4:49 Eastern. Best of luck.